but Tracy's popping on. Hey, Tracy, welcome.
Hi, everybody.
Hello, hello. Actually, since Tracy's popped on, let's just take a quick, 30, 40-second elevator speech, just so we know what we're each building. And that'll also help me know kind of maybe who to work with for an ICA here at the end. But Catherine, why don't you kick it off first? We've seen you, but for the rest of us that are here, please share a little about what you're about and who you're serving.
Okay. EM for 23 years, wound care, some Optum at home stuff, even like plasma center stuff. I did a bunch of things. Retired now and mentoring startup companies with an accelerator here in Northwest Arkansas, and toying with the idea of forming more formal relationship in that space and incorporating maybe some physician-specific networks too, because we are the night and day difference between listening to a tech founder describe their health tech startup and a physician describe their health tech startup. Night and day difference, and we need more docs there for sure. So, yeah.
Awesome. Okay. On a scale of 1 to 10, how clear, confident are you who your ideal person is that you can work with through your coaching, your services, or what you do? What's your confidence level?
6.
6. All right.
Yeah. I still don't know exactly how I'm going to focus my time going forward. Right now, I've cast a broad net, and I'm just volunteering and networking and growing, and that's my year. This year, I'm just growing and seeing and learning.
Cool. I love it.
I'll figure out what I'm doing later.
You're in a good spot for that.
Yeah.
Minnie, are you able to participate? I know you're on mute. If you are, feel free to pop off.
If you can pass by me, I can come back to it.
Sounds good. Okay, awesome. Tracy, you want to share a little more? You know, obviously, you've had a great connect this week, but for everyone else here, please, what are you up to, and what's your confidence level, and who you're serving?
Yeah, so I'm Tracy Bigeman. I'm a physician associate surgery provider by training and entrepreneur by choice. I help 2 groups of people to do 2 types of things. So I help clinicians become entrepreneurs and credential themselves to step into that space with the confidence that they walk into an exam room. I want them to be able to walk into any sales meeting knowing that they can do it just like they can do an informed consent. And then I help brands who serve the world and want to reach those clinicians through partnering on the podcast. So our podcast is a top podcast for PAs in the world. We reach thousands of PA listeners every single week. So if you sell scrubs or venture capital or anyone who's trying to reach any of those people, they are listening to our show, and that is a place where you can connect with them.
Awesome.
Oh, confidence level. I just realized who I'm working with today.
Wow.
But I know for sure now.
Awesome. That's good. That's good. So is that 5, 6, 7 more?
Oh, I would say a 9 on the who, a 7 on the how.
Cool. Okay, 9 on who, 7 on how. Sounds good. Awesome. We might, towards the end of this call, we might go ahead and craft an ICA together with one of you ladies. So awesome. I'm going to dive in. Pat, anything else you want to share before I jump in, sir?
Yeah, I'll just say I didn't even know what an ICA or an avatar was other than a movie from like 20 years ago until I started working with Caleb. So for me, just having exposure to this type of concept, and he and I spent an awful lot of time going through this and developing an avatar, and it was incredibly helpful being able to identify that because it removes a lot of the noise, and you're like, okay, this is who I am focusing on, and that's honestly why ShiftChange is here instead of focusing on everybody within the healthcare realm. Mm-hmm. I knew who I could help and who I wanted to help. So it was very helpful to go through this exercise and narrow that down and define it. So Caleb, I appreciate you being here and doing this. And I know a lot of other people will, be able to watch the replay. So this is something I think everybody who's watching, what I'll ask is once the replay is in the community, hype it up, encourage people to go in and look, because this is something that every single one of us needs to go through.
Okay.
For sure. Thanks, Pat.
Do you want me to give my quick blurb?
That'd be awesome. Please do, sir.
Awesome. Many Domesticas, ER doc for about 15 years. And I am currently building a company called Metrius Medical. We deploy remote discharge expediters to solve the bottleneck between the moment that someone is discharged in a hospital to the moment that they physically leave the hospital. I would say I'm still in the process of my ideal customer avatar because it's kind of varies. Some people think it should go top down. Some people think it should go bottom up. So I'm still doing a lot of the work to try to figure that out. So I love this session. I'm excited to hear it.
Awesome. Great. That's great. We had a great, Tracy, you and I had a call a week or two ago. Man, we had a call I think just yesterday, right? And so it's been fun. Catherine, we haven't connected yet, but I'm loving already the interconnectedness of one-on-ones and these touch points here. So this is what it's all about. Cool. Well, thank you all. This is a great group. I'm excited. I actually like having a small group because we can actually get a little more in the weeds and interactive, which is a lot of fun. All right, I'm going to share my screen. I'll share just super quick kind of who I am. Can you guys see my screen, the sticky notes?
Yep.
Okay. Awesome. Cool. So the goal today, talking about Ideal Client Avatar, we're also talking about how do you map out a buying journey and relate to the offers that you develop. So the three goals here, before I share a little about my own background, is once again, I'm going to show you guys how we can create Ideal Client Avatar, also known as an Ideal Client Profile, Ideal Buyer Profile. There's a bunch of names for it, but just kind of who's your person. The clearer we can be on that as for a point of clarity as an asset can really help all the rest of your downstream marketing and sales and offer creation have a lot more impact and be easier to sell. Number two, we'll talk about how to map out your ICA's buying journey, really kind of getting into their world, thinking through where are they at emotionally, what are they thinking, different stages of their journey, and how can your offers meet them, give them what they need as they kind of move through that buying journey with your own product or service. And then I'll give you some ideas how you can refine your own offer stack to fit your own buying journey. I've been building businesses for, since I was a teenager, 20 years building businesses. I'm from Alaska. I had my own business, commercial fishing. I had a remote salmon fishing operation in Alaska. So when I was 15, bought that, took that over. I built up an 8-figure business with my dad and my uncle. It was a $100 million fund. Went from just the three of us to 50 people and raised $50 million from private investor capital at that time. That business actually blew up in my mid to late 20s. And I stepped out of that business and I went through an identity crisis of who was I apart from what I did, as my identity as this business builder. And in this season now, having moved through that and picked up the pieces, really recovering my gifts, I love working with other founders. And my secret sauce is I'm good at looking big picture at what's kind of the big picture strategy in the ecosystem, especially for folks that are building online, in particular, coaches, consultants, freelance folks, online service-based business owners. That's kind of my sweet spot, who I serve. And not just what's the strategy, but then what are the technical pieces we need to put in place to actually see that strategy come to life. So helping 50 founders. Pat obviously helped you with, my wife and I helped you with this, getting this off the ground. So that's a little bit about me. And I've found that over the years, in my own businesses and with clients, there's usually this pain point, this fuzziness of like, okay, who are we actually serving here? And I find that we often have so many assumptions coming to business around, what our product should look like or what our clients' needs are. And it can be really hard sometimes to actually put your finger on what really is the problem I'm trying to solve, or how can maybe we know what that problem is, but we have a hard time communicating about what that problem is in a way that our buyers actually resonate with it. And so, along the journey, I've learned about creating Ideal Client Avatars, and I found that that's usually one of the lowest hanging fruit benefits for my clients, is just starting with this process of getting really clear, who are we serving, are really talking about the same customer. And then from there, then we look at how we layer our copy, our messaging, our offers, all that kind of stuff. So that's what we're here about today. I can't see you guys because I'm looking at my screen. So unfortunately, it's not as interactive as I want, but so use your voice. Any questions or comments before I dive in? Am I good to proceed?
Yeah, go ahead. This is great.
Awesome. Cool. All right. Thank you. So let's talk about crafting an ICA. So what is an Ideal Client Avatar? Basically, it's a personification of who are you serving? Who's your ideal buyer? Now, any one of us could have probably hundreds of buyers, but who's your best buyer? All your buyers are your best one, right? I mean, maybe you're like me, you've had some clients that you love working with, other clients you wouldn't mind letting go of or firing, right? We all probably have that in our world. So thinking about who truly is like no, like this is the best person, the person I really want to work with. They can afford my services. They've got a clear pain point problem I can help solve. Energetically, we're aligned, maybe even values alignment. So we're talking about that person, not just a buyer, but your dream buyer. What I like about having an ICA is that it gives you an asset and it gives you language that when you say that person's name, boom, you and your copywriter, your OBM, your COO, your marketing manager, your freelance website designer, whatever, you all know exactly who you're talking about. One of my clients here in the community, we created a ideal client avatar named Abby, and now whenever we're working on something, we're like, hey, does this really land with Abby? Or hey, what would Abby think about this? Or he's like, hey, I had an Abby go to the website and she's like, oh my gosh, your website's speaking to me, like, yay. So now that we have that ICA, it gives us an asset of a shared language point that we can both say it and boom, we instantly know who we're talking about, what her pain points are, what her aspirations are, et cetera. So it's a tool that can also really save you a lot of time. And if you're leveraging AI, for which most of us are in different ways, it's a really powerful context asset. Manny on this call, he's an AI pro. He'll tell you all about context architecture and context engineering, and having a really dialed in ideal client avatar can really help you with your context training. So if you're creating a custom GPT, or if you have a custom app, or let's say you want to send an asset to your Claude or something, like, hey, help me refine this LinkedIn post based on my ICA, you can give it the 2 to 5 page ICA document, and it's that much better. At that point, Manny, anything you want to add in regarding context? Have you used ICAs, Manny, with any of your context engineering with your stuff you've been doing?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're spot on. It's kind of like a standardized language that the LLMs will pick it up as kind of business terminology, and you just get so much further knowing the terminology and knowing kind of like a general sense of what we're all talking about. It gets you a lot further. So totally use this all the time.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, I think in conversations with people, they'll ask you, from a business perspective, who is your avatar? Who is your ICA? So I think just being familiar with the terminology, but also being able to answer that. It's kind of like Tracy, you put up that post the other day about what's your elevator pitch. We have to be able to answer who's your ICA. That's just something that you have to be able to spit out real quick.
Completely. Yeah, Catherine, in your world, is there, what would you say in your world? Like, who's your ideal buyer? Or I'm sure you got some language you use, right? Of like, who the heck are you selling to, right? What are you selling? Who are you selling to?
Yeah, as far as the companies that I advise, most of them have no idea. It's amazing to me. None.
Okay.
Right. And so, because I'm getting them seed through Series B, and they haven't even, they've been so focused on fixing a problem that they have not even thought about it. And it's heartbreaking half the time.
It's like, are we even actually building the thing the customer, our ideal customer, really wants, right?
Right. Well, that's exactly, and I keep saying that, like all the health tech, not all of it, but a whole lot of the health tech I've seen is based on the premise of things that people have read about a problem that that they're reading online about.
Yes.
And we in the medical field, we know that they don't get it right.
Yeah.
And so they've thought they've solved a problem, and they have something that nobody can use, and it's heartbreaking, and much less that nobody will buy because they don't understand the very complicated payer system.
There you go.
In the early years of entrepreneurship, I created what I wanted them to want. Like I was like, I'm good at this. I really want them to want this, and I'll just build it. And then I hope that they do. And it turns out that you have to build what they actually need.
What people will pay for, even, right? Because you can even build something that's got a clear niche and a clear use, and will absolutely increase the quality of healthcare. And if nobody owns that problem, nobody's going to pay for it.
Yes.
Yeah.
They'll keep pointing the fingers at other people to pay, and it'll not go anywhere.
Yeah, it's a painful experience, and my wife and I, we spent the better part of 5 months building an online course, and it was like the ultimate course, and it had 40 videos and all this stuff, and we built it what we thought the market wanted. We tried to make like the perfect product, but we didn't spend the time and energy on actually talking to our people or putting our best energy into marketing and actually getting it and iterating in like beta, round 1, raw. And so most of us probably made our own version of that mistake, Tracy. I've made that multiple times in the past. And it's like, That's what this always comes back to, is come back to the ICA, because if you do the ICA well, it forces you to have to actually get in front of your ideal client, talk to them, ask the questions. Don't just make assumptions or ask ChatGPT, but actually enter their world, which is a really hard thing to do, and it's painful, but it's essential to really ensure that what you're building, what you're designing, and you can't afford not to, or else your whole business model could be out of alignment, right, Catherine, from what these startups are building. So
yeah, they'll get funded too. So, you've got people that aren't in the medical field that go to VC fundraisers, VC people that are not in the medical field think that sounds great, and they throw money at it, and then just something. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. I'm gonna flip to my other screen. You might see yourself here for a second, and I'm just gonna show you a couple ICAs. Sound good that I have in my business. So this is just a ChatGPT version, and I'm gonna give you guys some assets as a result of this call. So I will give you this template, and I'm going to give you the prompt I used to create this and some questions you can ask yourself. But this is one of my ICAs for my business. So right now, a lot of who I'm helping, it's Pat. You're perfectly this person, where they're going to be a successful, high achieving corporate executive, or maybe they're a physician and of 20 plus years, and they want to transition to something else, maybe coaching, consulting, their own online business, etc. But they just need help. Like, they're really an expert at this, but they don't know how that experience translates to launching an online business. So here's one of my ICAs. And so I don't know if I need to read you all this. I'll just kind of give you the highlights. So with my ICA, it talks about kind of a summary of who they are. Here, I'll just read you one of these summaries. Eric's a high achieving corporate executive, 46 years old, with 20 years success in his field, but now feels stuck, unfulfilled, and uncertain about his next move. He dreams of transitioning into a full-time entrepreneurship, scaling his existing side hustle, or launching a coaching, consulting, or service-based business. But despite his expertise in the corporate world, he lacks the clarity, confidence, and systems needed to turn his vision into reality. Eric is action-orientated, and he's willing to invest in expert guidance. So my ideal person is not just a DIYer. He doesn't just want to DIY his journey. He needs a trusted strategic advisor to help him prioritize, focus, and execute with confidence. He's tired of second-guessing himself, feeling overwhelmed by too many options, and spinning his wheels. He wants someone who can help him cut through the noise, map out a clear business strategy, and put simple but effective systems in place so he can confidently build a profitable business and transition out of corporate within the next 12 to 18 months. Pat, does that sound like you at all?
I was gonna say, that sounds like me.
Does it? Okay. Yeah. See, like, Pat, you're my ideal guy, right? Yeah. You're like an Eric, where you believed in, Catherine, like yourself, right? Like you're willing to invest in help, the right help, if you can trust it. You're really smart, capable. You take action, you follow through on your own stuff, but you just need someone to help do it alongside you, right? Mm-hmm. So that's one of my ICAs. And so for me, having the summary and then going into demographics and background, what's their income, what's their business type they're building, what are their goals and aspirations. So in case this example, my guy Eric wants clarity. He wants to transition and gain back his freedom. He wants to feel more, more energized in his career, etc. He's got certain income goals. He's also got things keeping him stuck. He's like, he has lack of clarity at times. He has uncertainty. He can second guess himself. He can overthink things. Sometimes the tech feels overwhelming. So your ICA should really look at who's the person, what are their demographics, those kind of markers. But then, and what do they really want? But then what's keeping them stuck? That's a really important thing. The more you can get clarity in what's keeping your people stuck, then you can then start to craft your buying journey, your offers to move them through that. So I'm not going to read all this to you, but I'll share this ICA template with you, and you can kind of see as an example of one version. But basically I had to go through what keeps them stuck, what does that person value, what are limiting beliefs they might have that I have to help them work through, who they are not, who they are. And then there's some other things like what are qualifiers that must be in place for them to be willing to work with you. If someone can't commit more than 5 hours a week, I'm probably not a good person to work with. If they can't commit more than 5 hours a week to growing their own business, they don't have the time to invest. It's not the right season of life. So what's the day in the life? You get the idea, right? There's a lot of context here, and AI tools like Claude, ChatGPT can help you with this. but it's garbage in, garbage out. You have to be the one first clear on who this person is to then to give the right context for an AI tool to help you craft it and actually give you back a quality result. So is that helpful? Kind of see an actual live ICA here. All right, let me pull up. I'm not going to do, I don't think I need to show you now. I was also going to show you a different one. It also can be simpler. There's no like perfect form. This is like a 2-pager I have from an app that I have that builds ICAs, but there's no like, it has to look this way. The thing is, does it really personify your person? Does it cover some of the basics of like the pain and struggle they have, the goals, desires they have, and is it a tool that helps you, your team, and your AI context better align on who you're serving and how? That's really what an ICA is. Whether it's 2 pages, 1 page, 10 pages, there's no perfect formula, but having one is what really matters through this process. So what I'm going to give you guys, first off, a takeaway from this call is please, if you don't have one, take some time to create your own ICA. Be as specific as possible about, who is this person? What are their aspirations, goals, pain points? Really try and think what keeps them up at night. What are they laying in bed thinking about? And maybe they've told their spouse or partner, maybe they haven't at midnight, but like what's going through their mind as it relates to this problem that you can solve for them. If I'm a tech founder, Catherine, gosh, not getting funding is definitely going through my mind, right? Of like, can I actually go to the next phase of my business growth, whether I can line up capital or not? That's a big thing I'm thinking about. So once again, you got to give yourself the space to really enter into this process. But when you do it, I tell you what, it's going to be one of the most beneficial things you can do at this stage of your early marketing. So here's what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a AI prompt. My email's here, Caleb@saltandwaves. Just email me, Caleb@saltandwaves.co. This is true for anyone watching the replay. Same thing. Email me, Caleb@saltandwaves.co, and I will email you just a simple prompt you can throw up to any of your AI tools. And there's some questions here. So basically, there's some questions you can ask. I think there's like maybe, this is cut off, there's maybe like 12 questions that it'll ask you. And then I'm also going to send you a copy of my Eric the Executive. Sound good? And then you can ask your GPT or Claude, or whatever you like to use. But hey, here's the prompt, and here's an example AI, or here's an example ICA. I want you to ask me these questions, or you can pre-fill it out and give it to the AI at the same time. Like, hey, I want you to help me make my own version of this based on my my ideal customer. Sound good? So that'll be a takeaway from today. Shoot me an email, and I'll get you guys, whoever want it, those assets. Are we good to move on to buyer mapping, or are there any questions around the ICA? I wish I could see you guys. I was just looking at myself.
I can see everybody up at the top. Are you not seeing that, Caleb?
Because I probably shared my whole screen is why.
Okay.
I've got full screen on my free form here. Is probably why. So I don't think it's a tech. It's a Caleb thing.
Would you be able to drop your email in the chat?
Yeah, that's a great idea. Let me see if I can do that.
Here, I'll type it in, Caleb. You keep going.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, I appreciate it. You guys have to like see yourself. All right, let's go into go into the buyer's journey mapping. Sound good? So, all right, mapping a buying journey. This is thinking through what are the stages your ideal client's going to go through as they're kind of moving through this journey of deciding if they're going to work with you or not. And this is a little more of a geeky marketing thing to do, but it's helpful even as a founder to think through what's really happening each stage in my ideal person's world. So I've been building apps, a platform called Double, and I've been toying around this idea. I mean, we were talking about this yesterday. Toying the idea of maybe building a community of founders that aren't techie like us, but they want to build their custom apps, and they're willing to get in and DIY it to a point where they want support. So I have an ICA, Sarah, that I've just kind of been playing around with this idea, and she has her own marketing agency. she knows that content is king is no longer enough with marketing, and the clients want results in their online marketing. So she's thinking about building these calculators, interactive graders, or tools. She's heard about the fact you can build custom app solutions with vibe coding, and so she's really curious about how she could have custom apps that would help herself and her clients boost their businesses. Pat, you and I are a good example of this with ShiftChange. Here's an example. This app here, the free webinar app, is an app that I built on Lovable. So for Pat, this is a way he can build his email list and raise awareness about ShiftChange is by offering these free webinars, which is a ton of value he's offering, both for the speakers and the participants, but it's also lead generation for Pat. He can build his email list, right? So this is an example I'm talking about. So with my ICA Sarah, for this example here, she's curious. Her problem is she's curious about AI app building and she wants to learn more, but she's not a developer. She's not techie. And she doesn't have a large budget to go hire a big tech team to develop custom apps. So, and her emotional tension she's feeling, she feels a little bit late to AI. She's like, there's so much happening. She feels a little bit out of it. She's anxious about wasting time, but she's excited about the creative possibility of maybe I could actually build these custom apps or learn enough about it or bring some of my team that could help me build them for myself or my clients. And what success would look like for her in this example would be able to launch functional, beautiful AI-built apps that she understands and she can modify, her team can modify herself. So that's, for the sake of our example, that's what we're talking about is Sarah. And her whole thing is like learning about AI vibe coding. So let me go ahead and show you some of this. So this first stage that Sarah's going through is noticing. She's feeling that something is kind of off. And at this stage of her buying journey, she's thinking, and I keep hearing about vibe coding, but I really don't understand what the heck it is or what are people doing with it. So that's kind of that's kind of her mental state at this stage of her buying journey. This noticing for you, I don't know, Tracy or Pat, maybe noticing at your stage is someone's like, gosh, I can't live another Monday. I've heard you say that, Pat, or like Tracy, at one point you said your daughter called you stupid, right? There was some inflection point. Other people might be burnout. There's something happening in your world where you're aware that something has to change or there might be something better for you in the future, right? That's what I'm saying about noticing. It's when your ideal clients have some awareness. It might not be fully formed, but it's there that there's a problem that needs fixed or there could be a better future for me, but I'm maybe not fully sure exactly what that looks like yet. So that's like the noticing. Something feels a little off or could be different. So for this example, her emotions are she's curious, she's slightly overwhelmed, thinking about AI vibe coding. Maybe she's watching YouTube shorts, or her friend mentions a vibe coding app on Replit. But her point of being stuck, there's always points where someone's stuck. You have to help move them through at each stage of the journey. So her stuck point is she doesn't even know what's even possible in terms of that fact you can go build your own apps with AI. She doesn't even know that's even a reality. So relief for her to move through that stuck point is actually showing her what is possible and that you can actually build. If you're just a little bit creative and techy, you actually can build to a point something yourself, and that's a really visual, powerful tool. So as I'm thinking about my buying journey for Sarah and this fake example, I'm like, okay, if what she really needs is possibility, then awareness here is like YouTube videos, Substack articles, social media content, etc., LinkedIn posts, all about like real life examples of what's being built and kind of like showing her, hey, there's possibility here. The next stage of the buying journey is searching. So when someone's aware there's a problem, they start looking for answers. So at this stage, she's thinking, man, I don't know how to code. Can I actually build an app myself, or do I still need to hire a developer? That's kind of a big thing she's wondering. Maybe she's cautiously optimistic, she's intrigued, but she's skeptical. At this point, maybe she's watching really intentional YouTube videos, or she's starting to Google or ask ChatGPT what's involved. She's kind of looking for more intent-based data searching. Her stuck point, she's still unsure if she can even build her own apps. She's not a developer. That's kind of a theme. So for her relief is if I can demonstrate how fast it can go from speed of idea to app in real life, that idea of building it herself would feel achievable for her. So in this case, one of my lead gen strategies could be a free webinar that's like, hey, how to prototype your own lead gen app in 45 minutes using Lovable. So actually having a live event where we build an app together, I do with my audience live, and in 45 minutes, we go from just prompting AI to having at least something that's visual and core working online. That feels like magic the first time you ever see that. Manny, maybe you would agree with me. The first time I ever did vibe coding, like, whoa, like I didn't know you could build something that quick, and it might not be production quality, but it feels amazing in how fast you can create something. Is this helpful? I know I'm going in the weeds on this. Is this helpful, guys, to kind of hear this though and what's happening in her world?
Mm-hmm. I like watching your system.
Okay, nice. I'm kind of using this free form I kind of like just having stuff on a big canvas like this and kind of moving it. So I'm glad it's a good experience for you. It helps me creatively. Okay, so after they're evaluating, now that they know that there's some answers out there, that they're saying, okay, is this for me? So Catherine, what would an example of that be like in your industry? What's the evaluation point for your ICA? Is that like, do I go pitch my product or not? Or how would that translate to your world?
So from my customer's perspective, what would evaluating look like from their point of view?
Mm-hmm. To like, should I do this or not? What's that look like? Is that basically like sending you a pitch deck? Is it getting in your incubator deal flow or?
Okay. So for me, like whether or not I should do this in terms of engaging that client.
I'm thinking about what's your client thinking? Like
what's my client thinking? Yeah. So I usually meet them after they've already gotten things off the ground.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so the stuck points where I hear from people are very consistent. It is, I need money. I don't know what to do. I'm frozen. Okay. Or I need beta testing and I don't know what to do. I'm frozen. Or am I doing this right? Right.
Got it.
But almost all of them have something on the ground, something formed. Again, the physicians have like this just beautiful structure all built out and ready to go. The non-physicians have a lot of that too, right? And again, because I've seen older companies, and so some of them have been much further down the line. But anyway, it varies.
Okay. And I realized too, yours is a little unique because they're working with you is actually like going through a vetting, filtering, right, criteria process. So I guess that's a little more. There's multiple facets of that buying journey for your people to go through. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, I'm gonna for the sake of the idea, I'm gonna kind of move through. I'm gonna show you the rest of my stages here. So noticing, searching, evaluating. Is this for me? Deciding, am I ready right now? Or post-purchase, did I make the right call? So with my example, this gal who's considering, wanting to learn about vibe coding, my core offer for her is I'm going to offer her potentially a community where she can join and pay a monthly fee or annual and come be part of a vibe coding community, gets all kind of tools and templates and resources. But she might falter and say, am I ready right now to do this? This feels right, but what if I get stuck or I don't use it? Is it going to be a waste of money? So, at that stage of the journey, she probably needs assurance. So testimonials, written or video are way better. Case studies, examples of what other people have built, maybe a live call where we showcase some of the results inside the community. That in this example buying journey, I need to have trust assets that are there that can really help reinforce whether or not this is right for her, and other people have had success, doing this thing moving forward. In this buying journey, also having a 15-minute clarity call. So instead of just having straight to a landing page, I might say, you're not quite sure yet, book a 15-minute call to see if this is right for you, and ask some qualifying questions, and make myself available to help handle objections, answer questions, and really help this person vet should I or not move forward with this purchase. And then post-purchase, there's all this emotion. Did I make the right call? They might have swept their credit card, be like, okay, was that a good investment or a bad investment? And that's where you really have to add massive value right after the point of purchase for somebody, so they don't have that buyer's remorse, but actually getting tremendous value. In this case, for a community, it's onboarding, it's support, etc. Pat, we have some post-purchase onboarding inside of our community, right? This one that we built. So this gives you an idea, though, of in this fake example, someone going from, okay, there's a different world for me. I'm curious to learn more, but can I actually do it? Is this right for me? Okay, I want to do this, but should I really do it right now? Okay, I did it. Is this the right decision, or did I just mess up? And having your offers that kind of meet them based on what stage they're at, but to really help them with their stuck point, provide relief, and making sure you're entering their world so you know their emotional state, what they're thinking, and you can get a sense of what actions they're taking, is really a valuable process. I know this might seem like a lot, but to enter into this as best you can is going to really help you build an offer stack and really a sales journey to meet them where they're at coming into your ecosystem. All right, I'm going to pause there. Is this resonating? Have you guys seen this before? Is this new?
Yeah, this is definitely resonating. I feel like the questions that I have is like, I have all of these ideas on like, now that I know who I'm serving, we're beta testing a community, a collective, which we're just offering for free in exchange for testimonials and for sort of proof of concept to make sure that it's going to work. But going forward, how do I know if that's the middle of the ladder, the top of the ladder, the entry of the ladder? Like, how do I, along this journey, thinking about them on the journey and this like lateral and vertical, like how do I make those things combine?
That's a good question. That's actually my next section. So let's dive into that. I love that. Let's talk about that now. I do have a little template if you guys want this. Once again, email me, Caleb at Salt and Waves, and I'll send you a PDF or Google Sheet. You can fill it out if you want to fill this in yourself. Or you can make your own version, but that's a free gift to you. All right, let's talk about this. How does your offer stack or your funnel, how do we translate it? If we know our ICA, we know like the buying journey they're on, how do we actually craft an offer stack that that meets them on that journey? Sound good, Tracy? So most of us are going to focus on top of funnel to some degree. That might mean you actually have online social media presence. You might have YouTube videos, or you might be just word of mouth. Like a lot of my business is primarily word of mouth referrals from other customers. And so it doesn't have to be. If you want to build something at scale, you need some online media or ads or something at scale or affiliate networks for leverage. But for some of you, it might just be word of mouth is your business. But there's something at top of funnel, and that top of funnel, in your case, Tracy, you want to make sure your top of funnel is signaling to your ICA. You're solving an early pressing problem that person might have. So an example would be for my ICA here, Sarah. One of the things that might stall her out, I mentioned, is just not even knowing what's possible. So having a live training for her, or I might have a $7 tool that is something that can help her better prompt her app creation. In your case, tell me again, your person, are they wanting to start a side gig as like a PA, or what's the main thrust of what they want, the pain you're solving again, Tracy, for your person?
Yeah, so they're either clinicians that have a business that's not making money, or have a business that's making money that they're not sure how to scale, or have an idea that they want to grow into a business. So I think about this in terms of like, if your business is either a newborn baby going through puberty or like getting ready to die, I guess, if you're going to sell it, right? So like all of those things. Yes. At those phases where you either need to, get it out of the NICU and start it, not on life support, like get it through puberty and get it to scale and be independent and go out in the world. I have tons of children, you guys. I only know medical and parenting references. That's it. That's all I've got. So those are the people at various different points.
Okay, cool. And is it a variety of businesses too that they're starting? Is it med tech? Is it health tech?
Yeah, health tech apps, concierge medical practices, sort of guiding people through. Like we have someone who works in oncology clinically who's like, listen, families are being disserved by I want to walk them through this journey as someone who knows a lot about it, as like a guide, not practicing medicine, but medicine adjacent.
Okay, cool. That's really helpful. I can understand your person well. Let me just show you then. So in this example, once again, this is not an active business I've built, but I'm toying with if I'm going to do this or not. It's pretty simple. So for this person, thinking about what's top of funnel media that's raising awareness at a high level at scale, if done well. What's freer entry? So what's something I can exchange value for an email address, like a webinar. Like Pat's got a bunch of webinars for ShiftChange. Or what's a small price point paid? So when I say freer entry, for this ICA I have here, that's probably going to be less than $50 is going to be an entry price point. If you're going to have an entry point into your ecosystem, you can still give them something for free for email. That works. But I personally love to have someone actually, and I love to have not just an email capture, but also something where they can pay some money. Because if you can have the psychological relationship where they've paid you a little bit of money and you've way over delivered value back to them, then you've built trust on that buying journey. Like, okay, I spent $50 and this person gave me back $500 of value. I'm sure as heck more open to buying their $500 package because I'll probably get, way more value back. Right? So does that make sense? Often people that are free and people that want to actually spend a little money aren't always the same people, and so thinking about your business, like what are ways you can give them value potentially email, but also think, hey, alongside that or after that, what's actually a tool or a training or a checklist or an app or something that can actually give them quick wins, high value, or reveals an aha for them that solves an early pressing problem that's on their journey to actually being ready to be your ideal client. So in the case of a core signature offer, if the hub of my business would be this core community, and maybe another offer I would do would just be doing 1-hour consults as needed ad hoc for this ICA, that's my core. And that's like the bulk of the revenue, the bulk of the offer is that. But then premium above and beyond that could be actually doing custom app builds for clients. Like if you decide you actually want to build it yourself, cool. Pay me $10,000 over the course of 2 months, and I'll build this for you, right? That could be an example, or a rev share joint opportunity. That could be premium beyond the core. So in your case, Tracy, thinking about your business, if a core is a community, which is similar to ShiftChange here, Pat, your core is ShiftChange. Do you have mastermind levels on top of that, or is there a group cohort with Tracy? Beyond that, or is there marketing lead gen services with a really trusted, paid ad vendor that helps for lead gen? And there's some things you can do based on what your ICA's true needs are. But usually for most businesses, not always, but most of us that are consultants, coaches, et cetera, service-based, we've got kind of this funnel of like awareness for free, something entry point or email gated, the core of what we do, and then only some people will then hit the bottom of the funnel for premium, as it really makes sense. So does that help a little bit, thinking about kind of how these things can work together?
Definitely. Yeah. I think I like the way of a funnel better than a ladder because I love when gravity is going in the right direction.
Yeah, exactly. Like a funnel, right? You could flip this where it's like top of funnel, mid, bottom of the funnel, et cetera. There's different ways you can think about it, but it's like a journey your people are going on, and different people need different things at different points of the journey. Not everyone's ready today. Some people might need 100 touch points with social media or emails or hearing your name a couple times before they're ready to actually move forward. Other people are like, just sign me up today. Like my circumstances, my trust signals, all that stuff is ready. Let's go. So you want to have ideally an ecosystem that is, whether it's in the form of a free community that's building trust or lower price point paid, or if it's emails, or if it's a YouTube channel or the podcast, that's a great trust builder, Tracy, the podcast. Every time you launch an episode, if your ICA has heard, 26 episodes, well, that's 26 lead nurturing touch points. We've been able to actually add value and build trust on their journey. So someone who's listening to the podcast is being nurtured until they're ready to move forward with whatever that next step core offer is, if it's in alignment. So I'm saying here is that having lead nurturing assets, I think it's a lot of work, but having them alongside kind of your core sales funnel is really valuable, because that'll help bring people in when the time is right. And then depending on the level of the investment, some people might need discovery calls. If you're selling, I had a multi-$1,000 cohort program I sold recently, and that took a call or two, right? Before someone's going to pluck down thousands of dollars, they're not just going to buy that on a landing page. I will say too, there's this idea, if you build a digital course and just throw it out there, people are going to buy it on their own, or even a community. Pat, you've seen this, right? You still have to sell your stuff. Even if it's a digital product, usually it's not always going to sell itself. You can have a great landing page and you can have great systems, but you still have to be having conversations with your ideal clients in email, in person, phone, the DMs, whatever. and in many cases still be selling it, or you've got really advanced, funnel systems that's beyond the scope of today's call. So this idea of like just building it's going to sell itself is in most cases not reality. Cool. So if anyone wants to actually talk through this, like that's watching this replay or live on the call today, I do have a 30-minute discovery call link on my website, saltandwaves.co. Feel free to like book a chat. I'm happy to talk through like your own business in more details, and it can help you like think through these layers of your offer stack. But I want to kind of pause there. We've still got almost 15 minutes left. And I want to address questions. And I'm also open to, stop sharing. I'm also open to actually building an ICA together if you want. But let's pause there. Catherine, Tracy, Manny, is that helpful? Kind of getting some of that perspective on the buying journey?
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Cool. Please make sure you email me, and I'll get you the ChatGPT prompt and the Eric the Executive template, that kind of stuff. But do you already have, Tracy, an actual ICA drafted up?
Oh, only in my mind, not like a written document. Like I could tell you there's specific people inside of ShiftChange that are this person. It is the I would say early to mid career clinician who is either profoundly burned out and realized how disenchanting and marginalizing medicine is and how it just wants us to work more for less, especially as advanced practice providers who are just as liable and with incredible respect to the physicians in my life and on this call, working just as hard as our physician colleagues, but at a deep, deep discount, right? I'm no less liable injecting a patient in a room than the physician next door, but I'm making so much less. And so the burnout rates, we don't have great data on burnout for clinicians as opposed to physicians or nurses, but my money is on the harder you work and the less you make, the more likely you are to burn out. And the system is not designed for ease of use for patients or for clinicians for sustainability. So people get in, they get 5 to 7 years into their career, they have a kid or two, or in my case, 5, and then they wake up and realize that the healthcare system will step over your still warm body to replace you, and that you're just another widget on another assembly line making money for a machine. And you realize, number one, I can do it better. Number two, I am bumping up against a ceiling of autonomy and income, and I want to go around it, right? And in this building of the hospital, I can't go around it. I'm not going to go upstairs. I don't want to be an administrator. And they realize like what's behind door number 2, and it turns out you have to build the door. And that is the entrepreneur, right? The entrepreneur is like, if you keep going to someone else's building and trading your hours for their dollars, you will never blow the ceiling up, right? So the person in this case is like 5 to 12 years into their career, burned out, disenchanted, has an idea. Sometimes they're bored. So sometimes they're bored and they like want a challenge. More often they want to go from, I have to go to work to feed the beast, to feed my kids, right? I have to be part of this machine to support my family, to, I would like to get off of this ride. And the only thing I can think of to get off of this ride is to build a different ride, right? To build something that I am in control of. So that's the person. That's who I've been on calls with. We said we were going to open 12 seats to this collective. We have 20 people and I have 5 more calls. And I'm like, am I going to have to start turning people away, or just saying like, the 12 were founding members, the next 12, you guys got to pay me. What do I do with all of these people? I put them on a wait list. So I do feel like I've unlocked it, but it's very
it's
nebulous.
You know what's great? I'll say too, if you have call transcripts from those calls, that's incredibly valuable context that you can also use to iterate and refine the ICA as well too, or extract what we call voice of customer. So voice of customer is what are the actual words my ideal person is using to describe their situation, their problem, their desires. If you can extract those words, and then those are the words you use on your landing page and your emails and your conversations back to them, actually speaking in a way that they're resonating with, and that's a valuable asset. So I realize as I'm thinking through it now, I think it's really aggressive of me to think we can nail an ICA in 10 minutes, and really you want to enter into like the full world of your person's space. So my offer for you guys in this call is, hey, if you draft up an ICA, you want feedback, email me. You've got my email, and I'll give you my iterative feedback, or we'll jump on a 30-minute call to just talk through how to refine it and improve it if needed outside this call. But I think to really do it justice, you always need to sit with the data. But those call transcripts are great for saying, hey, can you help me harvest? What are some of the phrases and sentences and words that my using to describe their pain, their goals, etc., and then help me build out a like a voice of customer copy bank is what you can call it. And it kind of gets like it's a directory of phraseology. That's really helpful.
What advice do you have for when you feel like the product will solve more than one person's problem? So like they're all clinicians wanting to be entrepreneurs. Some want to start a nonprofit, some want to start a practice, some want to not practice medicine at all, some want to create a digital product. So those people are all doing very different things. Ultimately, it's a person with medical experience who wants to be able to practice medicine electively. Like I feel like that's the overarching thing. And then the specifics are like, are you just getting started and your husband has started to say this is a very expensive hobby and we have to sell something, honey? Are you selling something and figuring out how to scale it? Are you, I have scaled too much and now it's dependent on me trading more hours for more dollars? Like those are three different people and it's going to serve them all.
Yeah, exactly. You can have different ICAs. In that example, in that case, different ICAs in that community, or there are different stages of their journey completely. And you might find too, often the people we're serving are who we used to be years ago. Not always, but it's like, hey, who was I 6 years ago versus who was I 2 years ago, right? Versus who am I today? Often we're just, depending on what business you're in, especially for coaches, you're just a step or two ahead of the people you're serving. So it's like, what was I dealing with at that point in my journey? And so multiple ICAs for sure. And you will find that that maybe the vehicle through which someone launches their business, nonprofit, profit, whatever, looks different, but all those things, right? And so you can also speak to that, right? You can speak to what people want, and then the how at which you do it can be kind of worked out later. Manny, I'm going to give you a chance too. I know your business is a little different, but do you have anything you want to add to this, since you've got a deep breadth of business experience over the years, launching and selling stuff?
Yeah, I think you've done a really good job of laying it out, and I think this is stuff that we in the clinical practice of medicine really look at like it's a foreign language. But I would challenge us all to say, like, man, like we can talk to any different specialty that we did not study for and get on the phone with them and have a conversation. There's no reason why you can't do this too. You don't have to love marketing and sales. You just have to understand it because it's an algorithm and you want it to work for you. So that's why it matters to know this stuff, and why it matters to be able to use this to your advantage.
I love that. Yeah. I mean, you have so much confidence in the hospital. So the conversations you guys have to have, I can't even imagine having these conversations, that you've had to have, still do have. So, but there's a confidence drop off, I feel like, right? Going from a hospital setting to the business world. And I understand why. You guys have trained for years or decades to become the experts that you've become. So it probably feels like, I'm going out in the Wild West, like there's not a residency program for business that we're running through, right? It is like, it's discovering this stuff. But I would just encourage you, and Pat talks about this, is you have such incredible skills and training and discipline already that are all highly, highly transferable to the business case. Whether it's having hard conversations, or in Pat's case, he picks up the phone, he just calls somebody. I can't tell you how much business I did with cold calling back in the day, and that's what Pat does. He picks up and calls someone and unlocks a relationship that turns into amazing things. So yeah, I would encourage you to own your, do an inventory of your own skill set and strengths, and you'll find that the vast majority of that's highly transferable to business. And if you can trust those skills, I think you'll unlock momentum quicker, especially as you're in an environment like ShiftChange, where you can be encouraged how they apply and they're relatable to what you're building.
I think also where you take this to kind of level up is knowing what you do know about someone before you get on the phone with them, and then using these ICAs to kind of guess what you're probably going to get on that phone, and then making notes and prepping for the call. And it seems so silly, and I felt silly the first couple times I did it, but like there are very few calls that I get on the phone with these days that I don't have notes that I've written to myself about assumptions about who they are, what they have to offer, what I can see that they've touched, questions I want to ask them about, like maybe dig a little deeper on that and figure out more about that. And without the framework of the ICA, you're kind of just guessing, right? You're all over the place. But with an ICA, you're like, oh, I know this person. I think I know this person. Let me figure out if this person is this person, and then go from there. So it's a really good starting point.
Which sounds a lot to me like chart prep.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like a massive chart biopsy. And would anyone put into a physician's shoes even know where to start? They wouldn't. They would look at this and be like, ah, it's overwhelming. But like having done it enough times, you're like, I know where I need to look. I may not get all of it. It may not be perfect, but I'm going to prep myself for walking into this room with as much as I can. And that's what this is. And all of these things are tools that you should have in your box when you do any next step that you're going to take with a business.
Completely. Yeah, I love it. And if you guys do use, using AI for copy, AI can be a really powerful tool for writing copy, but you really gotta get really good at how you prompt it, how you refine it, so it doesn't read like AI. And so that's a whole other conversation. But having these tools, like Manny just said, like the ICA being developed, or that voice of customer copy bank, or something I had Pat do was he created an anonymous bank of all private names stripped out, but just some of the core conversations he's had over the years, and that context bank of the kinds of questions he's being asked, conversations he's having, that gives a context bank that we can use to actually help refine an AI model so that it can actually sound way more human and actually help write way better copy if you're going to use it as a tool in that way. So you really need these tools, like I'm saying. If you're going to leverage AI for writing copy, you have to go down that rabbit hole far enough to be able to learn how to prompt engineer and build these tools so it actually sounds good and not just more AI slop. So, well, cool. Any other questions? We're almost at time. I've enjoyed the conversation. It's been enjoyed this small group. Thank you guys for all being on here.
How many years have you been doing your job?
So I've been building businesses my whole life. Never went to college. I was building businesses out of homeschooling. But I've been doing my current form. My wife and I have our own little freelance agency, build websites, build custom apps, branding, that kind of stuff. And then I do business coaching with coaches, freelancers, consultants, folks who are in this kind of community. I've been doing that in various forms last 6 years.
Okay.
And prior to that, I spent 12 years building a real estate investment fund, $100 million fund. And I had a couple years in between where I wasn't doing a whole lot. And so, but building businesses my whole life, pretty much. I kind of grew up around this stuff. So, yeah. Tracy, thank you. See ya. It's awesome to have you guys on. Thank you all for contribution, for your time. Shoot me an email. I will be happy to send you. I'll send you the prompt, all that kind of stuff I mentioned. And then if you ever want, like Catherine, in your case, if you ever want to jump on and just like talk through what you're doing or how could you refine your own ICA, or I'm happy to be a resource for that too.
Thank you. Appreciate that, because I need a mentor. as I'm mentoring others, I need a mentoring for my mentoring. So yeah,
we all need help, and right, areas we're not experts, right, as we're going into. So, and then Manny, thanks for jumping on, man. You've got a wealth of knowledge on how this also does side. Please keep iterating on what I'm sharing. This is kind of more base level, but please take it to the next level in the community, however you see fit, man.
Yeah, no, I love this. Thank you for having me. Sorry I was mobile in the beginning, but I didn't want to miss it. So I'm glad that I came, and yeah, this is great. I see a lot of good things coming from this.
Awesome.
Yep. Same.
I'm we'll get this replay up in the resource library section of the community too, on the left sidebar. So it'll be easy to go back and watch as a reference too, if you guys want to in the future. So, all right, have a good rest of your day. See you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks.
See ya.